Okay, I just got back from watching Furious 7, and I'm actually pretty late to the party on this one. I think, because as I'm saying these words, it's already one of the highest grossing movies of all time, and it's probably only going to keep moving up the list, but I mean, yeah, it's already, what, 6th place, something like that. So, okay, I'm late to the party, but still, I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it, because I really have not reviewed a movie in a long time. Ever since I started making videos, the movie reviews, they were all written, just gone slowly downhill, and now, yeah, haven't written one forever, so just thought I'd do something akin to that, and, alright, so, first, and even though I'm the last one to the party, I'm gonna try to avoid spoilers, so, I will try, but, okay, if you want to know nothing about the movie ahead of time, then, yeah, don't watch this yet, but, okay, my background with this series, yeah, when the first Fast and Furious movie came out, I was just turning 11. I mean, yeah, I had no real interest in it. That Shrek was the big movie of the time for me, and I still love the hell out of Shrek, don't get me wrong. Like, still one of my favorite animated movies, maybe movies period, but it's that good. But, okay, even so, yeah, the action movies I liked were more like, what, X-Men, that kind of thing. That's what I, yeah, my action, where I got my action kick from, so yeah, I had no real reason to be interested in Fast and Furious movies, and everything I heard about them over the years of just, yeah, cheap action movies that, yeah, like all sequels, seemed to be getting worse as they went along, so, okay, I never had the slightest urge to check out the Fast and Furious movies until a funny thing happened. They threw in The Rock, and then this was just after, well, this was a couple years after I started just getting into movies, really making it my hobby, and yeah, Fast 5 reviews were better than any Fast and Furious movie beforehand, and, well, the tomato meter, if you check that out, I do take that into account at least. I know some people look down on that, but okay, I do think it's helpful, and yeah, better score than all the other Fast and Furious movies, and okay, on the 5th movie in, that happens. I'm like, really? Wow, what's changed there? So, I mean, and I still didn't get around to seeing it. I was actually pretty darn busy at the time, so, okay, but that caught my attention, and then next summer, when Fast and Furious 6 came out, it was otherwise a slow week for movies, and, you know, my buddy and I both wanted to go see something, so why not? Fast and Furious 6, and I loved the hell out of it. I really did. I mean, it was just, like, gloriously over the top. I mean, it was completely preposterous, and it was so darn creative in how it was preposterous. Just all of these it was like a live-action cartoon for me. Just, yeah, all of the stunts there, I will never forget so many of those stunts. Like, I was, there was so many points where I was on the edge of my seat and laughing out loud at the same time at how ridiculous it was. It works both ways. It was, I had a blast at it. And I mean, of course, the plot is totally ridiculous, but I mean, like I say, it knew how to keep the focus, I think, on what was important to the effect. So, alright, I had a blast at Fast and Furious 6, and, okay, so now I was interested in the series. Still never got around to Fast 5. I'm gonna have to do that someday, but, alright, so now here's Fast and Furious 7, with the movie that, was completed after the death of one of its stars, Paul Walker, and, alright, so that's pretty big, obviously, and it actually is getting the best reviews yet, so, okay, do I agree? I guess, whether I agree with it, it's kind of actually a complicated question whether I agree with it, but okay, first, the things wrong with it, I'll go over. One, despite the fact that the title is just Furious 7, I don't actually think it's as furious as Fast and Furious 6, because, like I said, just how over the top some of the stunts were, and so skillfully over the top, like I said, there was so much kinetic energy to them, like, on the edge of my seat, and laughing at the same time, and here, the stunts, it's not quite the same effect. I mean, I guess, strictly in terms of plausibility, they do find a couple of ways to one-up the last movie. Like, there's a scene I will not spoil, but, I mean, by far the most memorable one in the movie, to me, as far as the action stunts go, involves a plane. That's all I'll say about what actually happens, but as it's happening, and as you realize what's going to happen, Paul Walker looks right at the camera and says, "Just when you thought it couldn't get any better," and yeah, but the effect isn't so much like over the top, silly kinetic energy. It's more like they try to really focus on just putting you in the driver's seat a little bit, just like how the gravity is turning almost, how the center of gravity, the weight is changing, and how far down it is. And I'm talking the scenes in general, not just the one I just mentioned. And so yeah, it's more like it's more the tension is what they amp up, but there's not as much kinetic energy to it. And but there is still a reason they call it Furious 7, though, by the way. There's, instead of a race movie, this is more like a turf war sort of a movie. Well, it's, well, the plot, there's a couple different plots, but okay, yeah, it's more like battling it out with cars, and there's actually a point where Vin Diesel says it's not just about being fast anymore, and yeah, you know why, but still, it's legitimately not as furious as the last one, I think. It's just, it's more, but that's not to say it's not still very over the top and yeah, gloriously so. It doesn't manage to match the last movie in terms of that, but it does manage to do its own thing that you could argue is just as exciting. This was a little bit of a different experience for me, but I still had a pretty good time with it, and I guess since this movie is anchored in something a little more serious at points, like I said, well, I'll get to Paul Walker later, but okay, so yeah, I guess it's the right thing to do, but I don't know if I had more, as far as sheer fun goes, if I had more at this movie than at Fast and Furious 6. So okay, there's that. There's the plot. The plot of the last movie was pretty. I mean, I couldn't actually remember it if there was more to it than I remembered, because it goes by very fast. That's not really the point, and I mean, but you know, it wasn't like it was incomprehensible. It was just okay, I got it, and then I stopped thinking about it because you focus on this each individual moment. That's what these movies are there for. So okay, and I read up on it before I did this just to so I could confirm that, and yeah, it was just some special agent somewhere turned bad and got his own team together because now he's a wanted man, so he now operates outside the law, and he needs his own team he's formed his own team so he can evade them and do his own thing, and yeah, steal, pillage, plunder, all of the above. So okay, just yeah, basically some terrorist bad guy, go catch him sort of a movie, and that was fine. It was nice and simple, and yeah, there's one point where the character actually said, "Oh, like everybody on this team is like a different version of us," and yeah, it's basically what it just Team Fast and Furious versus their bad guy counterparts. That's pretty much all you need to know. And this one is actually sort of two plots. It's one, it's a MacGuffin chaser. Well, that's the second one. The first one is that Jason Statham, if you've seen the last movie, they tell you this is going to happen. He comes in and he wants revenge, and I won't say exactly for what, because I guess that could be considered a spoiler, but yeah, he's hunting everyone down. He wants revenge. And the problem is, okay, the plot is just a little more important this time, because, like I said, then there's a MacGuffin chaser, because they need this MacGuffin. It's a very cool MacGuffin, though, I will say, that, like, what you can do with it is pretty awesome. But, okay, they need it to find Jason Statham, and he obviously doesn't want them to have it, but it's like, okay, it sort of takes Jason Statham out of the spotlight. They go and hunt it down, and then he pops up every so often trying to stop them, but okay, now, and actually these two plots come together in a very nice surprise, but until that point, it feels a little disconnected, so, okay, there's that. And the final problem I have with it is, okay, they introduce Kurt Russell as the enabler of this adventure, the guy who provides what the good guys need to go do this. He's some government agent from somewhere who doesn't exist, one of those, some hidden branch of the government that, or hidden special forces branch that, yeah, provides what they need. And, okay, he steps in, and, okay, right from the start, he just kind of is okay with giving them everything. Like, he even says that, okay, this is a deal. I need this MacGuffin for my own purposes, so you get it. We'll at least let you use it to go catch Jason Statham. I am going to call all the actors by their real names, by the way. I think that's how most people think of it. Like, I know Vin Diesel's guy is Dominic, and okay, Paul Walker's Brian. The Rock is Hobbs, but okay, I'm just calling them by their real names. So just so you know. But all right. So okay, he gives them all this stuff, and okay, even though it's not like he has any special reason to like Vin Diesel and his gang. He just decides that he trusts them completely, even as they're going around. He tells them, "Okay, I've got all this stuff for you. You suit up, make your plan, go get this MacGuffin." And even as they're, and I mean, he's helping them do it. He's not. I mean, he's got his team helping them too. So as they're coming up with all these absurd ideas and stuff, that all of his experts are like, "Well, wait, but we can't do that." And the Fast and Furious team's like, "No, but we can, because we are there. We think it's the worst possible plan, so it's going to be exactly what they're not expecting." And all Kurt Russell says is like, "Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I like it. He just keeps saying that he likes it the whole time. And I mean, it comes across like he's just there to make it easy. There's no, because in the last movie there were no consequences in the end for bending the law and breaking the rules and doing stuff that seemed like a bad idea by conventional wisdom, but turned out to be a good idea. But okay, but that was sort of part of the appeal, that like how the sense of just having to outrun the rules almost, because that's how intense everything had gotten. And you know, they did still show the conflict there, that, you know, okay, it wasn't, it was basically consequence free, but it wasn't conflict free to break rules and stuff. So and I mean, it if any, well, the one important thing I think it did is that it highlighted why breaking rules was necessary, or how hard it was to come up with this plan, the plan that involved breaking rules, and what you had to be willing to risk to do it. And okay, so it did heighten the effect that way. And now Kurt Russell's just walking around, and he's like, "Oh, it's a good idea. Yeah, you do whatever I like you. You're so." It's like, okay, he really seems like he's just there to make it easy, and so yeah, it comes across like they're rushing it a little bit, or just trying to. It comes across like it's a little bit lazy, but on the other hand, though, it does make you like Kurt Russell, and it does, because he has a lot of charisma in this movie, I will say. And there's actually a point where it seems like they have what they need, and Kurt Russell, they give it to him, and now me attempting to guess twists and stuff. Oh, is he going to betray them now? Because, okay, he said this is just a deal to get what he wants, and he has no particular loyalty to them, and I mean, and now he would actually have to go out of his way to keep up his part of the deal. And I mean, so yeah, I'm thinking, okay, is he going to betray them now? And he doesn't. He keeps his word 100%, and that's not really a spoiler either, because it's not like they were hinting at it or anything, or there was no real question like, will he or won't he. There's just like that brief moment where I don't even know if they want you to think that he might. It's just like, well, I mean, I guess a little bit, but yeah, so, and he doesn't betray them. He keeps his word, and he goes out of his way to help them. Like, wow, this guy's actually pretty cool. So, and they're saying they're going to bring Kurt Russell back for however many sequels they have planned. So, okay, I think that a lot could come from that, so that's cool. But I think at very least, they needed to add someone in who's fighting them on it, saying like, no, I don't think that, I mean, why do you think that's a good idea, to show why it is. And I mean, and granted, you get a juvenile effect when the guy saying, no, don't do that, is there just to take a pounding, just to be like, ha, heck with you, we have our teenage level maturity thought process of screw the rules, just break them, and yeah, go for it. I mean, that's sort of a juvenile appeal when you introduce someone trying to rein it in just so you can beat them down, spit on them, ha, no rules from you. But yeah, but okay, that can somebody saying no still can emphasize why it's just not easy as that to come up with a plan that involves bending the rules. So okay, I think I re-explained myself a couple of times there, but anyway, that all said, what does the movie do right? Pretty much everything else. I mean, just every scene here, I mean, there is not one boring moment in this movie. And, I've talked to people who have seen the older Fast and Furious movies, and they said they were bored by them. It's just like some of them were just impressed with their own fast cars. Not here. These ones are, like I said, very tense, very. Actually, one thing I've noticed is, I mean, these movies, or at least the two I've seen, they do stuff that not everyone likes, or a lot of people don't like. They shake the camera, they yeah, use CGI, because, I mean, there's no way you can do all this with practical effects, some of these stunts they set up. I mean, I'm assuming that the stunts weren't this over the top when the series started, but yeah, I mean, they have been taken to extremes now. Just, they keep trying to top themselves, and they're very good at it. They're very creative with it. But, okay, CGI, shaky cam, that conventional wisdom says that dilutes the effect, or that's a shortcut for when you can't make it look like it's really happening. But okay, actually, what these movies do so well though is the editing, just like cut, cut, cut every moment, and you see exactly what you need to see very clearly. So I mean, it's just like it doesn't pause for a second to like try to build up any individual shot. It's just like every thing as much as you need to see. So it's just like building the tension, building the excitement, advancing the action, what's happening in a very fast and furious way, and it just it all works so well. And okay, well, I mean, I guess I already went over how the action is different specifically here, but all right, so yeah, the car chase is just very well edited, and there is not a boring moment in it, and the characters too, they fill up the screen. The Fast and Furious team has great charisma. They all play off each other very, very well. Where do I even start? There's just so many stars in this movie. I think these movies actually kind of have become what the Expendables was trying to be. I think that, they have sort of succeeded where the Expendables are starting to fail. Because I had a blast with the Expendables 2. I think they got it right there. And, Expendables 1, I'll watch it. It seems, I mean, 3, I'm probably never going to see, because it seems like, I mean, I was worried it was going to fall off the horse, and it sounds like it did in every way. I mean, even defenders of the others two are saying that 3 sucked, so... Okay, but this one, it has just as many action stars, give or take, famous big shot action stars, and they all work so well together, and, I mean... actually, I mean, sometimes I wonder if the weak link is actually Vin Diesel. When I see him, just like with his low, droning voice, I mean, he almost sounds like just a more articulate version of Rocky sometimes, but I mean, he seems almost disinterested at points, and Vin Diesel is not always like that, so I guess this is a particular sort of a character for him, but just like, like when something sort of rides on him that just like, you need to be invested in what he's doing. He makes it work. Like, his eyes light up at the right time. Well, it goes by so fast again, I can barely keep up with it. But I mean, it's like, no, he makes it work. So, in spite of the fact that well, sometimes he seems like just the boring lead, but I mean, it's like, well, that might only be because he's just surrounded by so many colorful personalities, because, I mean, when he needs to make something work, he makes it work, and you do root for him, and you are invested in him, so, okay, that's good. Paul Walker, I mean, I'm wondering if anyone's ever accused him of being the pretty boy of the group, because that's, well, just his looks, the fact that he's, especially in this movie, he seems like the one who's gonna go off with the conflict with his character in this movie is actually, now that he's married, now that he has a son, it's pretty much time for him to retire. Well, he basically already has. He's being called back for one last adventure, and actually, this movie might have coincidentally been intended to retire his character should he have wanted to stop. And I read somewhere that it was actually originally going to kill his character, but I can't get a consistent story here, so okay, whatever. So, but yeah, it seems, I mean, wondering if he's ever been accused of just being sort of the pretty boy of the franchise. And I know he did take over. Vin Diesel stepped out for a couple movies after the first one, and then he was our star. But I mean, so yeah, I could see how he could be. And well, he has that sort of. He looks like the handsome leading man. He is sort of portrayed that way a little bit. But I mean, well, if he has, shame on whoever did it, because I mean, he carries himself very well. He has a good charisma. I mean, it's sort of like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. I mean, Tom Cruise himself was accused, I think, of being a pretty boy before he proved that he could act really well, and that he's a weirdo. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone wants to think of him as a pretty boy anymore, but okay, that aside, it's like, okay, no, he carries himself in fight scenes very well. He has sort of a charisma when he's on screen. He is able to seem tough. You know, he's yeah, he I don't know what it's like. I guess down to the little stuff, like when you see Orlando Bloom in a fight scene, because he often does get that accusation. It's like he has to raise his chin and look like he's and I don't think Orlando Bloom is a bad actor, actually. I mean, I don't usually mind him so much, but even so, I guess I could see why people accuse him of being the pretty boy and don't rally behind his characters quite as much in movies. But, Paul Walker, I mean, he seems like he seems like he's getting into it just as much as everyone else. Just he's looks intent. He looks like he sells when he gets hit. He sells when he's trying to fight back. I mean, he all in all does very well. So okay, and I haven't heard that before. I mean, I'm kind of predicting how people react sometimes. So okay, I guess we'll say that's why I think he avoids that criticism very well. But all right, so what the comedic bickering. Actually, there is sort of a subplot with Letty Michelle Rodriguez. Her character she had amnesia in the last movie, and now she hasn't totally recovered her memory, and she can't connect with Vin Diesel the same way Dominic, and so yeah, she actually leaves early on. I mean, and she's brought back almost instantly, but it's to display the effect that yeah, Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez, they're on this mission together, and they're technically separated. Like she, well, you get it. But so okay, and it's like, and yeah, she can't just, because when they were trying to get back together, make it work, it wasn't quite working. But now that she's on this mission, she gets excited again. It's like, so you're wondering, yeah, okay, is she? I mean, I think what they're trying to push now is like, okay, is she? Can she only live as this action junkie now? Is that all that's left for her? And well, that I'll just leave you to see how that turns out. But well, that said, when she's on the missions and stuff, she also fits right in. She seems like she's having a great time. So okay, well, okay, I'll stop trying to cover the Fast and Furious gang now, because I'm kind of starting to say the same stuff over and over again. But I will say, there are two people in particular I was really looking forward to in this movie. One, coincidentally, is a character that both the most recent Expendables movie and this one have in common, or an actress, I should say, women's MMA champ Rowdy Ronda Rousey, who is awesome, by the way. Like, she single-handedly got me into women's MMA. Like, I got bored with men's MMA a little while ago, and she's able to make women's MMA interesting. And I don't know if I would have found it interesting before, actually. It's just like they never bothered to market it very well, so whatever there. But okay, no, like, if you don't know, she's a women's MMA champion. She takes out everyone in the first round with an arm bar. No one even touches her. Only one other girl, her biggest rival, the only one to fight her twice, has managed to last more than one round with her, and she introduced trash talking to the sport. Like, she actually got permission from Rowdy Roddy Piper to use the name Rowdy. So I mean, okay, it's pretty awesome. But she had a much bigger role, though, in the Expendables movie, which, I mean, I haven't seen Expendables 3, but I've done it. Just the trailer showing that she's going to be on the team, that is a bigger role than she got here. So, because yeah, she just plays a bodyguard from one of the guys they have to go through while they're chasing this MacGuffin, and basically she just gets a fight scene. She gets to say like two lines, and unfortunately, even those two convey that she might not be the greatest actress. But it's basically the same thing as in the last movie. Michelle Rodriguez gets an MMA fighter to take on in a fight scene, except the last movie, Gina Carano, she was a significant character, and Ronda Rousey is not. It's just one fight scene. So, okay, a little disappointed there. And the other person I was looking forward to is Tony Jaa, who, if you don't know, Tony Jaa is an actor who was in, I believe it was Hong Kong martial arts movies for a little while, and his breakout one called Ong Bak, it made people think he was going to be the next Jackie Chan, the next Jet Li. His stunt work in that movie is amazing. Like, nothing short of it. I mean, well, for example, one of the stunts he does, not in Furious 7 in that movie, I will only spoil one. He's running down the street away from the bad guys, and they have a couple of people carrying a roll of barbed wire on a stick. Like, two people just have a stick over their shoulder, and then in between the two of them is this circle of barbed wire no wider than a tire. He's running up to it, he jumps, he bends over, touches his toes in midair, and slides right through the center of the ring of barbed wire. Like, that wide, he's able to fit his whole body, fold himself in half, and fit his whole body through it, just jumping through the air, and then land on his feet and keep running without even losing a step. He is incredible stunt work. He is perfectly charismatic as a lead. So, okay, but the problem was after that, there was nothing else. So that he just nobody asked him to be in any bigger projects. I think part of the problem was he started trying to direct his own movies, which that didn't work out so well. So basically, his breakout movie Ong Bak, that was it. He actually retired from movies very briefly to do something else, and then he came back. So okay, he's getting a little older now. I think he's in his early 40s, so I'm worried his star might pass him by entirely. I'm really hoping this gets the ball rolling for him a little bit late in the game, so we can at least have a little bit of Tony Jaa. And so, yeah, when he shows up, at first I wasn't sure, because he's basically just like, he's the right-hand man of bad guy number 2 in this movie. Bad guy number 2 is the one they're trying to take this MacGuffin from. He's a terrorist. And so, yeah, Tony Jaa is the right-hand man, and when he shows up, it's in a fight scene with Paul Walker's character, and, okay, it's a very good fight scene, but it's not like an amazing stunt work fight scene. They're fighting on a moving bus, so they're just scrambling, hitting each other, going for guns, that kind of thing. And when it's over, it looks like he's out of the movie too. I'm like, oh man, you brought Tony Jaa in, and that's all you're gonna do with him? And but fortunately, no, he comes back. Ronda Rousey is the only one who was disappointingly brief, even though her fight scene with Michelle Rodriguez was fine. But no, Tony Jaa, when they tie the plots together, he comes back, and he actually gets to be sort of Paul Walker's rival in the movie. And I've probably described all you need to notice him. He's an Asian guy who fights with Paul Walker, but if not, watch for the line "too slow." That's what'll let you know. That's I think the only thing he says in this movie. He might have said other stuff very briefly, but I'm pretty sure that's it. And so, okay, so he comes back, and he gets to be, yeah, sort of Paul Walker's rival in the movie. Vin Diesel's, of course, is Jason Statham, and Paul Walker gets Tony Jaa, and then when they have the inevitable rematch, then they let Tony Jaa show what he can do a little more. The flips and the fitting himself into space, or well, like splits and stuff to balance himself out, and just and it's not nearly what he did in Ong Bak, but it's like, okay, they let him show his stuff a little bit, and rest assured, a fight with Tony Jaa is a great way for Paul Walker's character to go out. That is a great last hurrah for him. So, okay, I liked that. I was appreciative, and I mean, I would have liked, of course, to see him do his really amazing stunt work if he still can. He looks pretty great for early 40s, but I mean, still, it's got to be fading a little bit. But Okay, even so, like I said, there's just so many characters. It's hard to imagine, unless he was the main bad guy, that there could be room for this to be the Tony Jaa show for a scene or two. So, okay, but no, he has a very good fight scene with Paul Walker, and okay, great last hurrah for his character, and okay, so that was very satisfying. And there are at least one or two more characters who you think are going to be stiff their moments, like The Rock. It seems like they give him a big moment at the beginning so they could take him out for the rest of the movie, and I'm like, oh man, The Rock. I mean, I know that you can't focus in on everyone, and I mean, and for a while I thought that what he got was actually as much as a lot of people got, but or a lot of people were going to get. But no, he also comes back, and you're going to love how he puts himself back in the story. So, okay, there is that. But, all right. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much all the characters. Oh, I should talk about how good Jason Statham is. His character is basically the badass that can do anything. He can walk into a place with lots of security guards, blow them all away, and be totally cool about why he's there, and just almost make fun of the people he's destroying and stuff. And I mean, and of course the reason he's a threat to Vin Diesel is, I'm sure, like the last 5 bad guys, he's been places Vin Diesel has never heard of. The streets he's used to are so much rougher, and all of the above. So but he sells it very well, like I said. Or did I say it? Well, I don't care if I said that. But, all right, no, he sells it very well. Jason Statham, he does have sort of a charisma, and I mean, I guess there's only so much room for, I mean, he's our main bad guy, and there's only so much, or I should say they only make so much room for him. That was one of my small criticisms. But, okay, so, yeah, but he does sell it very well. He's not, there's nothing that's really like comic relief about him. He is supposed to be just 100% a badass, but he sells it very well. Very intimidating. He's a lot of fun to watch in his fight scenes. He's a little smaller than some of the guys he's up against, so they do a good job also making him sort of more skilled. And I mean, they keep selling too that like he's apparently very used to explosions. Like he knows exactly where to set off an explosion so that he's fine and everyone else is not. So, okay, he is a good bad guy in this movie, is he? I guess he's better than the last bad guy. The last guy was really smug and overconfident, and he's just business as usual, like just ice water in his veins. So, yeah, I mean, and everybody's probably going to prefer him just because he's Jason Statham. But, no, I guess he, well, it depends on what you prefer, but he, I think, carries himself just as well, at least. So, okay, there's that, and I guess the final thing to talk about, I said I'd get back to Paul Walker, and truth be told, like I said, it did seem like this movie did intend for this to be the last we see of him, and it sort of lends a subtext. It's kind of like The Crow with Brandon Lee. If you haven't seen The Crow, he died on the set while trying to reshoot one of the last scenes, so the movie was basically finished. They could release it without him, and it's about, and he plays a character in it that comes back from the dead, and says a lot about life and death. But so yeah, it's just like that. Paul Walker, what tragically happened to him. It sort of lends a subtext to this everything he says that about retiring and such, and having to move on to other things. And I mean, not a very strong one, but I mean, what's happening with him when he's risking his life, when his wife is telling him, you have to come home, and I have every faith that you will. I believe that you can pull off this mission. I mean, you can't help but think about it. It does lend a little bit of poignancy, but I do think that, they left that in there and maybe brought it to the surface a little bit to, because they want this movie to be a tribute to him. The director said he was hit very hard by Paul's death. Like, apparently he and everyone else, they were just so devastated by it, and then he tried to put on a brave face and work his way back. Okay, we've got to finish this movie for him as much as anything. And but okay, they spotlight it. They don't beat it into the ground. It's just, it's there. It's not um, amped up, and they're not like trying to exploit it almost. It's there is pretty much the full extent of it until the end, because okay, right at the end, right after this is the Fast and Furious movies. They, if nothing, they are shameless for better and for worse. Like one of the main characters, and I won't give away who, is at death's door at the end, and then it turns out the solution is not to is not CPR. His love interest, she pulls off the guy giving him CPR. The answer is not CPR. It's to tell him why he can't die. And you know what? They even get away with that. What she says is very significant, and I don't know, and it's silly, but I mean, they do it just as shamelessly as they do these over-the-top stunts, so I'm like, I can't even hate that, as stupid as it kind of is, but, alright, so, but after that, right as we're just taking a breath from the action, they cut to, Paul's sort of last meeting with his friends, and his wife and his son are there, and they're sort of, getting set to say goodbye, and they don't just do it well, they do it really well. I mean, it'll get you right there. It's like, I mean, it just like, and then Vin Diesel, like I said, he does the low voice thing. He keeps that up, so you think it's, so I guess it kind of starts to, you get this sense that eventually, okay, it's just the character, and so yeah, when he, as he's walking off, one of the last things he says is like, you can, he sells it. I mean, it's like, it really gets to you what he said. I mean, it's very poignant, and then one more thing happens that I took to be sort of a metaphor for the movie itself. Like, we get to see Paul Walker one last time, and yeah, I mean, he's not even someone I was that familiar with. Well, yeah, I didn't follow his stuff that much, but so I am really glad that I had even the one movie before this one to get invested in these characters over, because okay, this one, it's like just yeah, the significance of both the characters going their separate ways and the subtext with Paul Walker, it's like, wow, it really hits you. And yeah, and this very last thing that happens that is sort of a metaphor, I think, for the movie itself, where yeah, we get to he gets to give us sort of one last gift, is just very effective. And I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, a Fast and Furious movie, get you right there. I mean, I am very cynical when something that was not meant to be dramatic and heartfelt, trying to be dramatic and heartfelt, but it works here. They just focus on, I guess, how Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, Brian and Dominic, how their relationship, how they've grown so close, how they're like brothers, and just, yeah, how this is the final point for that. And I mean, I guess in the last movie too, Fast and Furious movies, I think there's, well, especially since there's apparently been this running relationship with Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez, when something matters to the characters, they can sell that it matters, and here it's like they know exactly what to focus on, and they nail it. So, I mean, this is actually very poignant, and I think that's where this one might actually gain an edge over the last one. I mean, and the last one was just a lot of fun, like I said, possibly even more fun, but this one not only has the fun, it's probably the most invested you'll ever be in these characters and what's going through their minds, or these actors even, because like I said, subtext for what actually happens. So, okay, I don't see how any Fast and Furious movie is going to beat that. But alright, so very positive vote overall. I really, really enjoyed it. I just ranted on forever. This is probably, even compared to the vlogs I used to do, this is unrestrained, and holy mackerel. But, okay. But I think I'm still not as long as a lot of the reviewers and stuff who do these, but what, Cinema Snob, and those guys often takes them an hour or however long. So, okay, I think I still managed to at least make it less than that. So, alright, hope you're having a good week, and see you at the next video.